Hey guys. Okay, so let's take a look at multi-step equations. So before you start this, you should have finished slides 2 and 3 on the tic-tac-toe. Now I'm going to go through these examples and you can finish up the tic-tac-toe and then we'll have another assignment solving equations tomorrow, okay? So example number 1, we have 8c plus 5 equals 4c minus 11. So my goal is to get my variable by itself. So you should have some steps for solving equations. And the first step tells you draw your line. The second step tells you look for parentheses. Well, here I don't have parentheses, so then I can skip my distribute step, and I want to combine like terms on each side. So what that means is I'm going to look at this side of the equation. Do I have any like terms to combine? No, I have 8c and 5. These are not like terms. They don't have the same variable. Same thing over here. I don't have like terms. So then step 5 tells me get my variables together. So remember, our inverse operations are, if we're adding, our inverse is subtract. If we're subtracting, our inverse is addition. If we're multiplying, our inverse is division, and our inverse of division is multiplication. So I want to get all of my variables together. So I have a variable here and a variable here, and I want to move them and put them together. So I'm going to take my smaller variable and move it. I'm going to move my 4c over by subtracting on both sides. So 4c minus 4c is 0, and I'm just going to be left with negative 11 over here. And then 8c minus 4c is 4c, and I still have a plus 5. Now my last step is to solve. And so I want to think about, okay, what is happening to my variable? So the first thing I'm doing to my variable is multiplying it by 4. My next thing is I'm adding 5 to it. And so the inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse multiplication is division. And I want to do these from the bottom up. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. 5 minus 5 is 0, and I'm just left with 4c over here equals negative 11 minus 15. That means I'm starting at a negative number and I'm going more negative. So I'm going to end up with negative 16. And now, so I've done this step, and now I need to divide by 4. So I'm going to be left with c equals 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 1c equals negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. Okay? So let's take a look at, so we've done number 1, we're going to do number 2 up here. We have 9a equals 6 times a plus 4. So my first step is to draw my line. My next step, look for parentheses. Well, I do see parentheses, so that means I need to do my third step, which is distribute. So I'm going to have 9a equals 6 times a is 6a. 6 times 4 is 24. And now I'm going to combine like terms on each side. Well, I don't have like terms on each side of my equal sign, so then I'm going to move on to get my variables together. Again, I'm going to move my smaller variables over. So I'm going to subtract 6a from both sides. 6a minus 6a is 0, and I'm left with 24 on this side equals, and 9a minus 6a, so 9 minus 6 is 3, and I've got 3 a's left. So now I'm seeing that I have a one-step equation here. So a number right next to a variable is multiplication. And to undo multiplication, I'm going to divide. And I'm just using this fraction line to show division because it's prettier, it's nicer, it's easier to tell what's going on. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and I'm just left with a over here. 24 divided by 3 is 8. I'm done. All right, and it's number 2. So let's look at number 3. We got 14 plus 2 times 4g minus 3 equals 40. First step, draw your line. Second step, look for parentheses and distribute. So I have 14 plus 2 times 4g is 8g. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Remember, the sign goes with the number behind it, okay? So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and I still have equals 40. So now I'm going to combine my like terms on each side. Well, now I do have like terms on each side, so I need to put those together. And when they're on the same side of the equal sign, I'm going to do exactly what it says. So I have 14 minus 6. 14 minus 6. So 14 minus 6 is 8, and then I still have plus 8g, and equals 40. 14 minus 6 gave me this 8, and so then I still have an 8 plus 8g equals 40. Now I'm going to try to get g by itself. So I'm looking, what is happening to my variable? So the first thing I'm doing to g is I'm multiplying it by 8, and then I am adding 8. I have this positive 8 that I have over here. So the inverse of positive 8 is a negative 8, so subtract 8. And the inverse of multiplication is division, and I'm going to do these from the bottom up. So the first thing I'm going to do is move this minus 8 over. 8 minus 8 is 0, and I'm just left with 8g equals 40 minus 8 is 32. So I've done this step. Now I need to divide by 8 on both sides, and g equals 4. Okay. So these are some examples of multi-step equations. So I would like for you please to work these 3 problems here. Work these, send them to me in an email so I can check your work, make sure you know what you're doing, and then go ahead and work on the tic-tac-toe. So you should complete the rest of the tic-tac-toe, and then we'll have a different assignment for tomorrow. All right, y'all have a good day. Please